Hare Krishna. So I will share the screen also. Uh, see, I'm joining you. My Yuva Gurukul ID. So, Jai, full strength today. But ultimately, so ऐसे बैठ जाओ थोड़ा सा इधर आके. It's a very important topic for us, and very important. Art of self-management. So it may not be covered in one class. It will take some classes, but we will try to see how much we can cover today. Can you repeat after me, Shloka? युक्ताहार विहारस्य युक्तचेतस्य कर्मसु युक्तस्वप्नावबोधस्य योगो भवति दुःखः युक्ताहार विहारस्य युक्तचेष्टसु कर्मसु युक्तस्वप्नोपबोधस्य योगो भवति दुःखदा. Ram bro, can say. युक्ताहारविहारस्य युक्ताहारविहारस्य युक्तचेष्टस्य कर्मसु युक्तचेष्टस्य कर्मसु युक्तसंज्ञावबोधस्य योगो योगो भवति दुःखः. Anybody else also? Okay. Mm. Mm. So the translation goes like this. He who is regulated in his habits of eating, sleeping, recreation, and work can mitigate all material pains by practicing the yoga system. So modern day, if you see, this shloka is thoroughly not followed. No? It's completely opposite of that. And they are completely with dukkha, so much of suffering. So this recently I was talking to one devotee in Florida, Gainesville. I was in Gainesville for some time, Krishna House. So there's one devotee called Rasik Rasaraj Prabhu, something like that. Very senior brahmachari from England. So he was telling that two things are required, especially for you. I was talking about the brahmachari life. So he was telling regulation and sadhana. These two things are telling. And it's telling even if regulation goes here and there, sadhana should not come. He said that. Anyways, so so he says there is a difference between the modern educational system and that of a 100 years ago. So 100 years ago, what kind of system was Gurukul system basically, right? So in today's system, moral and spiritual training are banned. Children are not allowed to play. Still, the government in countries like America wonders why it is necessary to hire an armed guards to keep order in schools. Indeed, schools today are supplied with surveillance and intruder devices, closed circuit TV, watchdogs, budge control doors, walkie-talkie, panic buttons, and even weapon screening devices. Talking about West is not out of context for Indian scenario, but prudent as India's ambitions for progress is heading in the same direction. Spiritual training used to be part of the classical educational tradition. Students were tutored in ethics and philosophy. Religion was taught and prayer was encouraged. As recent as one generation ago, the character of students, through not ideal, was angelic compared to today's. According to a recent study conducted by the California Department of Education and Fullerton, California Police, typical school problems during the 1940s were, can you guess? In 1940s, what kind of school problems were there? So it says that the problems were like talking in the class, chewing gum, making noise, running in the hall, getting out of place in line, wearing improper clothes, and not throwing paper in the waste basket. Typical school problems in the 1980s were no. That is very simple. Drug, drug abuse, alcohol, pregnancy, suicide, rape, robbery, assault, burglary, arson, and bombings. They were the 1980s. 1940s and 1980s. See the advancement. This drastic change from childish naughtiness to corruption and criminality has occurred within the past 50 years. Much of the blame lies with parents who grew up during the rebellious 60s. William McGuire of the National Education Association states, parents say to their children, you don't have to listen to that teacher. So 6-year-old kids, sensing that no one is going to stop them, feel okay about cursing a teacher. Fifth graders throw pies in teachers' faces. What is pies? Achha. Throw pie in the teachers on the teacher in the teachers' faces. And 10th graders sell drugs in the laboratories. So modern degradation inevitably leads to academic degeneration. Today, 30% of American students fail to graduate from high school. Isn't it? Yes, is it like that? Saying that today 30% of American students fail to graduate from high school. Huh?
Because most of the Americans in my class are
But high school, na, Prabhu. From high school, they graduated. That's why they're relatively smart. The smart fellow, fittest. Survival of the fittest happened. Others did not come only. Then how do you know? So what? Okay. And a great percentage of those who do graduate can't even write a coherent paragraph describing their job preference. It is not high time we ask what is happening in our society. What is happening in the West is not something that is further enriching India. As we are importing Western multinationals into India, we are also importing the Western culture to permeate India. How the culture of India has become polluted can be seen by behavior of modern students. I met one boy and girl on the airport. I scolded them. I told them, no, you fellows should preserve the culture of India. Then I asked, whether your parents know you are together like this, roaming around? Then the boy said no. then Mataji said that, yeah, you know. I told him you should know, you don't get carried away with Western culture and everything I was mentioning. So, so you find that, actually, even though, he was from which place he said? Yeah, he was from Kadapa, Andhra Pradesh. And this, she was from Bangalore. That's the thing, this Karnataka and Andhra is a very pious place. People are supposed to, maybe visit them. Well, I did not say that, but basically the point is that don't get into the Western kind of so much of getting, into all this. I was telling also how it's a poison in the beginning and nectar in the end. Please cut. I spoke. I told maybe pinching when I'm speaking, but I'm telling you the truth. And just take my advice as an elder with it. And I told them chant Hare Krishna mantra. They chanted. Continue chanting this Hare Krishna mantra. That will help you. Like that. So the point is that when the Indians come to America, they're like they say they're new crows. Americans are like old crows. So old crows they have already spent sufficient time with all garbage. So they are now looking for something. What is their next? So sometimes Americans are more what is say eager to receive some transcendental knowledge. Sometimes there are chances like that. But Indians, when they come from India to here, they are like new crows. These fellows are more sometimes shamelessly trying to go towards the Western culture. It happens like that. So, so that's what it's telling. So as we're importing Western multinationals into India, we are also importing the Western culture to permeate it. And Indians are more eager for Western culture. No, Westerners are thinking maybe there should be some higher purpose. No, we are our civilization is doomed. People have good kicks. They've got good kicks. So some of them at least are willing to hear. No? So I was there in the airport. So there one very old man and very old woman. So I talked to them also. So I told them that they were Mataji was 78 years old and Prabhu was 76 years old. So I was just you know, I was asking them whether you believe in God and all. So both of them said that I believe in God. We believe in God. And all. They were talking decently. So then then I told him, do you agree that in your country, even though people have sometimes a lot of success and assets and facilities and all that, still you find they are kind of lost in this world? He said, many are like that. No, it's old man, old one. And then he started telling me, the person next neighbor to me, who is my neighbor, he is simply living in the what is that? Poop of mice and poop of rats. He was saying he's simply living, and he has no wealth, and he's like, and no, he doesn't even open the door. He just like that line. Once I went in his room, I saw all that. I cleaned. I cleaned his car and everything. Then so this fellow was thinking I'm a crazy person. Why he's coming and helping me? Nobody helps. And he told that man was the old man told that he was a person who had a very big house in California. He had his sons and daughters and wife and all that. But now all of them have left, and his situation is like this. He said. So you mentioned that there are many people like that. They're lost. Then I asked there about their wife. I asked, so are you like together since many years? They said, no, no, no. Actually, we all were married to different people. And they're old, very old. See, I think now, but she divorced after 13 years of, and he divorced after 17 years of. I mean, she divorced after 17 years. He divorced 16 years, 13 years, and now they're married. They did not get married for next 17 years. They were just staying together, and with their children, kids. And the kids did not like them. Kids wanted them to go back to their previous parents. I mean, previous mother and father. So both of the kids were not liking. So after 17 years, they got married. Maybe like 7, 8 years. Yeah, something like that. So because just so that kids also be happy and then so they're like, so they're good people and they had a good, yeah. Then I told about, I'm going to tell you very honest advice. If you hear that, it will be very good for you. Something like that I spoke. Then they became very silent and they were very eagerly hearing what he's going to tell. Then I told about holy name. And I told you should chant this Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. So they chanted also. Hare Krishna mantra. And then he said, isn't it the Beatles? So I told, yeah, yeah. So yeah, I've heard this. It sounds like what Beatles sing. I told, yes. Then they said, we will hear together with Beatles now. We will chant this. So they were happy. And they took my number and all. They told, can we take photo with you? I told, yeah, you can take photo. I have photo also. They only told, can we take photo with you? I told, yes, we can. I can show you the photo. So point I'm telling is that the other experienced fellows in America, they have spent 78 years so much. So they are now honestly he was telling that how the people have so much of emptiness in their life. They're troubled. You see, that. But they are willing to hear the holy name and everything. We're very happy. We spent almost like throughout when we are traveling, we've spent time. And my what some speaker was there like then this mother, no, she was saying, hey, your that is left. I told, yeah, yeah. Then they keep forgetting things. And my mother also keeps telling me, so I think Krishna has sent you like that, to remind me like that. Anyway, so the thing is that, yeah, so people are actually, so much enamored sometimes seeing the Western culture. But those who are in West, they know what is happening with them. Their life has become topsy-turvy. So much of, uh, you can see people are lost and nobody cares for each other. I was really thinking after that. I was thinking, you just randomly ask any American, they always have something like they have like the divorce, they have like 2, 3 partners and all that. So the one other boy who came here, he has 5 steps father, 3 steps mother. I was like, I'm saying what kind of culture it is. Can you imagine? That means you can clearly see the nature of mind, Bhogat Yaga. If you dupe into some gratification, you cannot be stable at all. Mind will just go cut, go. No, you cannot be stable. You see, it is such a terrible thing. And the people are not happy. That shows people are not happy. See, they thought, okay, they'll become happy by this, but they're not happy. Otherwise, why they're too much changing here and there? Why? Because they're not happy. Simple fact. But if somebody comes to Krishna, he never get divorced. Huh? Then he's happy because he's feeling happy. You see, so many devotees in our mission. Because they are serving Krishna, the relationship becoming more and more thicker, more and more intimate. See, devotees grow. That means Krishna is our real relative. He's only our real relative, spiritually speaking. Of course, others are also relatives, but on a spiritual platform. Krishna is our real object of love. So if you invest in relationship with Krishna, that will never be divorced. Correct? That's always with. We don't keep changing, no? From Krishna to this, from Krishna, from Krishna to Krishna. He's our Shashwatam Pati, like that. So, but we can see in American culture, it happens like this. So, how the culture of India has already become polluted can be seen by the behavior of modern students. You can see that. Many of the Indian students also you find here, completely they're becoming like cats and dogs. Actually. Sometimes I feel they become more shameless than Americans also. When you see them, sometimes they are more so-called trying to be, westernized. Then Westerners are like already bored about it. So they're bored the way they are bored. They're not much like this thing fascinated so much. They're same. Everybody's same only, like that. But Indians sometimes are like, yeah, America, something wonderful is there. So they want to sometimes get into more of exploring things. Sometimes happen.
So isn't it because that like we were raised as per saying that Hindi is bad and English good, we should speak English
Yeah,
more,
yeah.
right?
That is true,
That's
Prabhu.
why
That's see what
I
happened.
think that it's
Yeah.
not started in like America first. But shouldn't we focus on India more? But like as per the saying goes, we should take care of our home first, then preach other neighbors.
Yeah, that's why
Like,
India.
because in India, when I grew up, it's like in my house we used to like pray morning and the evening. And I used to think that every house does have the same thing. But like in 11th or 12th, I came to realize nobody does that anymore. It's like one or two in like 100 or 200 people.
Correct.
So I feel like we should like start preaching in India.
You can go back to India and preach again. But India already preaching is happening a lot. And America, nobody's there. Those Indians are coming in America, you can preach to them also. And you can preach to Americans also. See, everywhere preaching is required. Everywhere preaching is required. So anyway, we'll go further. Srila Prabhupada called the university as centers of designs. You'd say modern slaughterhouses. Yeah, modern slaughterhouses. I was there in University of California. Krishna lunch, they were served, Shadam. And there one devotee was telling that actually most of them, they have a particular kind of drugs they take. So even they go to doctor, because they have so much of stress and anxiety, so doctor will prescribe that drug. And the nature of a drug is that they become addicted. So can you imagine? And this is a legal thing. It's a legalized drugs. And that makes the person completely, like addicted to it, and the intelligence is put off and all that happens. Terrific problems, actually. So this is happening. So, so-called like doctors, those who should try to give the real solution, Vaidya ji, na? Doctors means Vaidya. So even they are also doing this. So it's very terrible. Then he was asking, another Prabhu, stop with that. Another devotee is there. So he was mentioning that Prabhu, these people, I was telling Prabhu, we don't have so much a rigorous program to call them and come for the program or something. We do in a very subtle way. The Krishna lunch, we are providing prasadam. Slowly somebody may want. He said their intelligence is completely put off. He was telling. So you may have to ask some kind of questions to them and first little bit try to help them to come to their intelligence. Because intelligence is completely lost on me. And you can see also, it is all the way they are. You can make out from where you have come. So I mean, it looks like they don't use their intelligence, how they should be behaving, how should be they living, how should be. It's like that. The one good thing is that all of them, most of them are mad for Krishna. That is the best thing. I think that's the hope, saving grace. No? They are getting prashadam, let them become. So they're suffering actually. They're suffering. Intelligence is put off. That's what happens to, you see the animal species also. The intelligence is put off. They are going by instinct, right? They can do so many activities. So when they are also their intelligence is put off like that, and they also indulge in the same kind of animalistic activities, likely to become animals next life. But the saving grace is that Krishna consciousness. They are getting prasadam. That is wonderful. And some of them may pick up Krishna consciousness also. That's the point. I was interviewing, some of them. So I interviewed some Krishna house. There are some boys and some girls. They stay separate, but they have like training programs together. So I interviewed some of the boys and some of the Matajis also, because the Kalakantha Prabhu, who is the in charge, wanted me to kind of interview both, so that you get a fair idea about what is happening in their life. So I interviewed. I kind of asked some questions. So the boys also said that they got into drugs and all that before. They had something. Another boy who is now a brahmachari, he's taking brahmachari. They told he also had girlfriend and all. He came out and all that. And so all that. So that means all of them got into this kind of thing. That means part of American culture now, it seems. And that the another Mataji also said the same thing. She also said that she was in a relationship with some boy, and then she also smoking. She got in touch with devotees, but it still took like 2 3 years. And before shifting to Krishna house in the final year, then she could give up. Like, and then with the boy also, after 1 2 months after staying in Krishna house, then fully got cut off. That even some message also completed. So they were telling that how it helped them. Otherwise, they were complete. And so there are people who had some spiritual inclination also. So that Mata was telling that actually she was kind of not so happy about materialistic civilization. She not have much interest. Like she was telling that, but still she was caught into it. So even people sometimes may have some kind of not much inclination, but still people get into that because of all prevailing kind of association like that. Everybody is same, doing same thing. And many times the college when they go, then they become full-fledged spoiled because of that bad association available, so much available. So Prabhupada is saying this university is a center of science. Center of science. Can see. Center of science means you get an initiated into all the wrong activities. So there's a problem. So because the modern education is not producing a generation of gentlemen, but a bunch of degenerated, perverted intellectuals who hardly understand the real identity of the soul. Hardly understand the real identity of the soul, the goal of life and proper course of conduct. Yeah, they don't know how was the proper course of conduct. Like I was going, in the New York City, yeah, New York I was going. So we stopped on the traffic there. And from another sound was coming. So what happened? Why is sound coming? Yeah, the boys. The boys told Prabhu, because this fellow is impatient. Because the traffic signal came, red signal. So he stopped there. Like, everybody stopped him. But he's again shouting. So why is shouting? Then I said, Prabhu, because he wants to go and red signal has come. So he's become very impatient. Usually it happens here in New York, it's like that. People are very impatient. I think, my Lord. Then I told, let us take the vehicle ahead. I want to see this fellow. What is fellow made up of? They took it a little ahead, and I saw he's an American man, actually. Must have done some degree in some university. So because the modern education is not producing a generation of gentlemen, you can see. No. But a bunch of New York, I was going under the street. There also one man was going, and suddenly he spit like this one, spitting and then going like this. So what is this? Huh? No, not on me, but on it's like that, spitted, and then he went ahead. I think, मतलब no sense of कहीं भी थूक रहा है आदमी चल रहा है ऐसे. New York has crazy fellows, no? New York people like crazy. I was feeling very fearful. I was saying, अरे nobody should attack here. No, कोई मार वार देगा क्या देगा पता नहीं. Very fearful. Then we took a cab and we went. वो सबवे वगैरह ढूंढने के लिए मैंने कहा छोड़ो अभी कैब पकड़ो निकलो यहाँ से. No, it is a very dangerous place. One man from Andhra, somebody, he sponsored our cab and he gave $50 donation also. And we went in the cab only. He was helping us to escort to the subway. But anyway, he told you go better with cab only. Then we went with cab. But what I'm trying to say is that people are actually not gentlemen many times. Very, very. You feel fear only just by seeing them, what this fellow will do. Like that. Because modern education is not producing a generation of gentlemen, but a bunch of degenerated, perverted intellectuals who hardly understand the real identity of the soul, the goal of life, and proper course of conduct. the way they eat, what kind of things they eat. Everywhere people eat meat and beef, everywhere, and everyone, almost everyone. The way they have their habits of smoking and drinking and illicit connections and all that. The way they appear, the kind of dresses they wear. I mean, hardly. It's very. I mean, kind of another thing. What where their intelligence is? Why they're not able to wear properly? The intelligence is completely put off. They're taking drugs. They're drinking alcohol. They're having no proper sense of dressing. They're just walking like that. So it's very very. So this is called perverted intellectuals, and they have no culture. They are into to all these degraded activities. No sense of understanding of their real identity as soul, the goal of life, and proper course of conduct. Because whole focus is on the body. They think their body only. I was telling to Ajana to see that many Americans you find that it's so much of variety, different colors. They will put different varieties of dresses, different hairs of different color, different types. I was saying, see, if they are focusing on body, so it's bodily varieties come. So much of variety in the metal. When they focus on soul, then all these things is not required. You see, devotee don't have so much. These are the same tilak, similar kind of dress, same only. They don't have much worry about all this. But they experience spiritual variety. There's so much of spiritual, rasad and you understand, no? So spiritual variety is there. They will have different varieties of services. In ISKCON temple, you see so much of variety is there. We have wonderful programs. We have Gita, Bhagavatam, so many books. We have variety of books. You can always read pastimes of Krishna, Raha, so many lords. Lord may be both variety, devotee may variety. So much. Rasas are varieties of rasas, varieties of spiritual planets. There's spiritual variety. So they don't focus on the soul, then they focus on body, and then they get into so trying to just increase their bodily variety, in so many ways. So it's telling that the boys graduating from modern institute are proud for no reason and do not feel the need of guidance or blessings of superiors. No, there is no conception of he is my superior and his no, nothing. No respect for anyone. No blessings not required. Nothing. Then this kind of conception is not there. They consider superiors to be good for nothing, parasites in society. Students have no conception of self-restraint. In the West, assaults by students upon teachers are so commonplace that Dr. Alfred, psychiatrist at the University of California, has coined the term the battered teacher. You understand the battered teacher? After studying 250 abused teachers, he found them suffering symptoms similar to battle fatigue. In order to avoid being physically attacked, teachers pamper students and even kowtow to them. What is kowtow? Huh? Bow down, no? Kowtow. In order to avoid suffering, in order to avoid being physically attacked, the teachers pamper students and even kowtow to them. Lamentably, the teachers themselves are strangers to self-discipline. Yeah, they themselves don't. And the modern students have no faith in God or His laws, and they freely indulge in all kinds of sinful activities without worrying about what future holds for them. They indulge in smoking, drinking. I'll explain all that. They have not tasted the sweetness and freedom that comes from self-management and self-control. Yeah. So basically, they're stuck on this kind of materialistic activities, and they have no understanding of the real nourishment and sweetness and happiness which is there when one becomes free from all this, wrong things, and he's able to manage himself and have self-control. Then that kind of happiness they don't have understanding of. And they accept bogus theories that everything emerged from a big bang and some ape-like ancestors evolved into human beings of the modern times. With such absurd misconceptions about life, they have no goal or purpose to even living, leave alone living a life of principles. They have never challenged these theories, which have no solid evidences to prove. They have never challenged these theories, which have no solid, because these theories have no much evidences also. Big Bang theory and there's no much, and the Darwin theory. We have discussed in our discovery session also. They don't have much basis, but they believe it. They have no problem with that because that helps them continue their certification. But if they have to believe in God and all, then it's a problem. So all these things we don't accept. We accept only what is conducive for Krishna Vacha, for our sun gratification. Anukulyasa sankalpa. whichever theory is supporting me as sun gratification, I'm happy with that. Whichever theory is not supporting, they don't even worry about what is the evidence of that. They don't think what supports me, my sun gratification. They have never challenged these theories, which have no solid evidences to prove. They were coined by atheists to shelf God aside so that man can go on with his sense gratification program. This is what is happening. Accept concoction, and further description is given. They accept the concoction that modern man is most evolved and civilized being as he has the most developed in science and technology. And the man of ancient times lived uncultured life in jungles and hunting animals with no civilization or scientific advancement. This is what they thought. You see in our books also, they say what is called? Typically people, those who were, uh, what they call? Those we think that we are evolved from them. हाँ? उनका नाम नहीं उसको हिंदी में क्या बोलते हैं मतलब they were like very primitive, they did not have proper clothes, they would eat animals, no? Stone age, हाँ. आदि मानव बोलते थे उसका, आदि मानव का मतलब ऐसे रहेगा वो, उसका कुछ बाल बड़ा हुआ है, खाने को कैसे तो खा रहा है, तो चिंगारी निकली उस पर फायर आया तो धीरे धीरे वो समझ गया कि कैसे कुक करना है, तो ये सब all like wonders, nice imagination. So that's what they're telling. So they think that they were the uncultured life, and so because they had no scientific advancement. We are very cultured, we have scientific advancement. They were living like that. That's what they think. So they take that as a reference and think that we are advanced. Such concocted foolish theories make the boys deny scriptures, Puranas, by disposing them as mythology. Because when scriptures are telling, Puranas are telling, what are you talking? Our ancestors were great kings. Before that, they had so much of mystic powers also, many of them. And they had such kind of palatial, buildings and everything. They would have sometimes the planes which they could fly. So when these things descriptions they come, then they will say, hey, we don't believe. It's a mythology. We are scientifically advanced, and our ancestors are primitive. So that theory they keep. So they'll not believe in Puranas. Puranas by disposing them as mythology and feeling proud of their modern so-called advancement. They're hardly aware of the fact that celestial weapons used by Vedic man were powered through subtle mantras, which are like software programs keyed into a microprocessing device to activate the servo motors. Depending on the input instruction, the servo motors would activate linear or rotary movements. Radhe Shampoo is from mechanical background, so he has put on this example. The celestial weapons could do much more. Put a hole in every leaf of the tree, pour rain, create fire, etc. They could do that all. Our modern weapons, at the best, they destroy only in these sections. But those weapons could actually do much constructive things also. And modern education system are not given instructions in celibacy. Forget celibacy and all. It's a free culture. Yes, get into all the free mixing and all this also. Are not given instructions in celibacy. Rather, religious instructions on refraining from illicit sex are considered superstition or dogma and meant for weaklings, not for courageous, boisterous youths. Modern medical teachers openly make propaganda that sex is not at all bad, not at all, sorry, not all that bad. Indeed, everyone should be given freedom of speech and expression. So modern medical teachers openly make propaganda that sex is not all that bad. Indeed, everyone should be given freedom of speech and expression. Thus, authenticated by the top people, the demonic youth cultivate nescience with great vigor. By avoiding illicit indulgence in sex, one attains purity, memory, wisdom, concentration, retention power, vichara shakti, dharana shakti, good health, vigor, strength, determination, discrimination power, peace of mind, self-confidence, cleanliness, and many other similar subtle qualities. By free indulgence, one loses all these final qualities. You'll see that. If somebody follows brahmacharya, then he will develop all this, ojas, tejas, and dhriti, determination, vichara shakti, power of inquiry. One can think deeply. Thoughts will be more deeper. And one can discriminate what is right, what is wrong. One has willpower. One can be determined. One can, dharana shakti is there. Dharana shakti can grasp things very fast, very deeply. Concentration is good. We can have retention power. Memory is good. Smriti is good. So all these things will have wisdom. One will have wisdom. His vivek buddhi is more strong. He will have good health. Peace of mind. You'll be confident. You'll be courageous. he'll be clean. So all these wonderful qualities come, you see, when you have certain kind of self-restraint from all this thing and follow certain principles. Like somebody follows brahmacharya life. So by free indulgence, one loses all these final qualities. You see. So some of the boys I found, uh, like, well, we can clearly, okay, we can clearly see that how the mind is so restless. I mean, with the body language also. Many Westerners you find something. I'm not talking about Westerners, anyone actually. See, those who get into all these things, they lose all their time. They cannot focus. They say that attention span of nowadays people is very less. They say like 45 minutes, something they say. The 45 minutes, like at maximum to maximum, you can have class of 40 minutes. That way it is said. Not like 45 minutes, they have full attention. Not like that. Only 45 minutes is the maximum thing limit of taking any session. They say, you cannot take beyond that. But our BYS boys, we take sometimes sessions for 4 hours, 5 hours also. Retreats. And you have no problem because you are following certain principles in your life. It's true actually. But you cannot have because that all final qualities gets reduced. They have either no religious practice or have only some show about the religion due to social pressure or mundane piety or desire to acquire name and fame with no understanding of God or so. And they adopt some yoga practices going to yoga societies that teach how to get healthier to have better sex life like monkeys. They're not interested in learning yama niyama, pranayam, asana for controlling senses. No, to achieve the meditation of the Supreme. In fact, the knowledge of Supreme Lord is not taught in such yoga societies. So yoga is only for bhoga. Do yoga, you get nice bhoga. That's how they have. They have no understanding that how yoga should be to connect to God. Yamaniyam they won't follow. Then they sometimes they may wear some tulsi neck beads or yoga pants or some t-shirt on nirvana, some slogan on meditation, but hardly live a life of principles as a human. They won't live. Patriotism and nationalism is given undue importance with the exclusion of God, who is the fountain of all existence, due to which sectarianism and cleavage in the population of the world is brought about. Men fight for no reason, forgetting the temporary nature of the material world. Therefore, the modern universities are called center of science or spiritual slaughterhouses. So there's proper statements actually. So we have to understand that it is certainly just our colleges and universities and schools slowly make the person athletes and demoniac. It's not happening actually. The kind of syllabus they have put, the kind of theories they have put, and the kind of culture they give. Like when I was going for Gita content in schools, I was seeing that they're playing Bollywood Ghana, Bollywood songs, and having some annual function for that preparation. What kind of songs? It's all bad, dirty songs they play, some kind of songs, and it has no proper meaning. And the boys and girls they're just having some kind of dancing preparation on that. So and some school they're showing movie. I think well, they have to do some recreation. They have no much option. They will go and some latest movie which is released, they will put on the auditorium. And class wise, they have a movie show. I think this is what is in school they are doing that. That means even if suppose they're coming from good family, they may not want to go, but school में like this happen. The school should support the culture. Then so parents से दूर है तो और उनको खराब कर लेंगे. So it's terrible as thing. There's no. That's why many devotee parents are so much concerned when they come to America. Where to put our children? Because whom we are putting to those people, they are butchers. They will slaughter my son. You getting? So you take your son to some place, and this fellow, is exploited. He's going to talk. He's going to slaughter. So children will be slaughtered. All the spiritual inclination will be slaughtered. So it's a problem. That's why sometimes some of the parents they want to be in the community where some devotee school is there or something. Have some this kind of concern. Many of the devotees are adopting this now, this thing, homeschooling also. Because in homeschooling, at least they have freedom of giving the Krishna conscious culture. Otherwise, it becomes very problematic. Yeah. They become uncontrolled. Even devotees kids also. They get very badly influenced. Some of the parents, they came to Pune, shifted from US, they came there because they were fed up. They thought, we want to save our children. There's a problem comes. To experience real freedom through Krishna consciousness. So first thing was about problem statement. for anything, generally, first we state problem statement, then we understand the need. So you see, this is what modern age people are heading to. Correct? That's what we discussed. So now high academic education cannot uplift us above animals. So all this intellectual stuff, what we get in college, schools and colleges, that will not help us to get uplifted above animals. That is only kind of some, intellectually we become more, astute in material sciences or whatever, right? But it doesn't give us any sense of elevation in our consciousness. That like sometimes animals are also very skilled. They have very sharp intelligence in certain things. They're very skilled. That's kind of there's a skill development. So, but it doesn't have any consciousness development. That doesn't happen. Vishnu writes in his book Nectar of Devotion, a person engaged in Krishna consciousness, acting in devotional service, can develop all good qualities that are generally found in the demigods. So, on the other hand, a person who is not in Krishna consciousness has no good qualities. Yasyasti bhakti bhagavad akinchana sarve gunas tatra samasita sura. He may be highly educated from the academic point of view, but in the actual field of his activities, he can be seen to be baser than the animals. A vulture may rise very high in the sky. He also has very powerful eyes. Yet, what is the object of all this great qualification? A dead body. He's only trying to see the corpse. Gone very high, but watching the corpse. So now, with the intelligence and skill, they've gone up. But the consciousness is stuck in only trying to eat the dead corpse. Same thing happens. People have got so highly elevated in terms of the material sector, they from MIT, from Harvard, from so many big doctorates and all that. But if you see, their whole consciousness is only duped in some direction. They simply are running after the women, running after the drugs and this and that. All this happens. So, on the other hand, person Krishna consciousness, he will be liberated from all these things. Srila Prabhupada say, even if somebody just come to Krishna consciousness, he will have no attraction or he will hardly be having any botheration about going to nightclubs or alcohol or drugs. It just comes out very easily for him because he has got some higher taste. So a dead body, okay. Similarly, we have a very high education and may rise very high with a spaceship. But what is our objective? Sense enjoyment, the enjoyment of this material body. This means that all the striving and all this high education are merely on the animal platform. So by school, colleges, we are not going to become human. We are only animals. In fact, sometimes deluxe edition of animals become. So see, nowadays parents, even in India also, they have so much concern that मेरा बच्चा education होना चाहिए. They should get educated. And after education, if they go to America and get more educated, it will be so wonderful. That's what you think. But actually, what happens is the more you give them this kind of education, the more they become degraded. This is what happens many times. Correct? That's the reason that those who are from very traditional families, they don't want to send their children sometimes to West. They're very fearful. This fellow will start, like even for Prabhupada also. Who did not want to send Prabhupada? I think his father, I think, said, not want to. His mother wanted him to become this thing, but his father was concerned he should not get into some wrong habits and all that. Of course, that was his father's concern for the son, Prabhupada's problem. So, yeah. So, Krishna consciousness brings forth character. For example, a Krishna conscious boy, even if he's not very well educated by the university standard, can immediately give up all illicit sex life, gambling, meditating, intoxication. Whereas those who are not in Krishna consciousness, although very highly educated, are often drunkards, meat eaters, sex mongers, and gamblers. These are practical proofs of how a Krishna conscious person becomes highly developed in good qualities, whereas the person who is not in Krishna consciousness cannot do so. We experience that even a young boy in Krishna consciousness is unattached to cinemas, nightclubs, naked dance shows, restaurants, and liquor shops, etc. He becomes completely freed. He saves his valuable time from being extravagantly spent in the way of smoking, drinking, attending the theater, and dancing. Yeah. Silent meditators or Sangatipas. One who is not in Krishna consciousness usually cannot sit silently even for half an hour. Half an hour he cannot sit silently if he is not Krishna conscious. The yoga practitioners claim that by becoming silent, they will realize that they are God. This system may be all right for materialistic person, but how long they will be able to keep themselves silent? Artificially, they may sit down for so-called meditation, but immediately after the yogic performance, the so-called gods engage themselves again in such activities as illicit sex life, smoking, meat eating, and many other nonsensical things. By engaging mind and senses in Krishna consciousness, he automatically gives up all this nonsense and develops a high character. The conclusion is that no one can truly have any good qualities if he is lacking Krishna consciousness. So when somebody becomes Krishna conscious, automatically he becomes human also, good human. Correct? Yeah, because Krishna consciousness will help him to able to have proper discrimination and live a life of a human being first. And then like four regular principle brings you to human platform. It is not Krishna consciousness. Four regular principle is meant to bring you first on human platform. And then chanting, reading, hearing, and all that is spiritual. Then you go raise above like that. So when you actually engage in chanting, reading, hearing, that also will help you to have at least following the four principles properly. Then you will have strength to follow. And that's how you remain human. Otherwise, no, people have no sense of being human also. He was telling we were reading Leelamrita that I think it was Rasik Prabhu, he was only mentioning that how the people that time people are eating fetus in America and all some places like that. Which it is given in the Bhavishya Purana that in Kalyuga it will happen, but it's happening earlier. So very dangerous kind of age. And yeah, and he was telling that there are some shops where they sell human meat also. So very horrible. Uses a time for the mind, body, and spirit to be nurtured and developed through discipline. Unfortunately, today's schools teach nothing of self-control. No courses are offered in ethics, philosophy, or religion. Only recently, colleges, schools, and universities have worked upon to see the degradation of youth and children and begun to worry about introducing some courses to discipline them. Consequently, since I was telling to, I was in the flight, so some Americans were going. Then I told that Hare Krishna. Then they don't understand. I told, see this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. By chanting this mantra, many hippies, they were into so much of wrong nonsense things, drugs and intoxications and so many nonsense, and they became very good human beings. They became very purified and transformed. Then they said, yeah, this is required. Very good. The Americans said, yeah, correct. Required. Very good. Okay. I think they should do this. Very nice. Hare Krishna. In the following section, we are given some important headings. Okay. Yeah. Consequently, the sun's intelligence in ruining the life and health of today's youth. In the following sections, we have given some important headings that are helpful to students and grown-ups to improve themselves in way that will benefit their body, mind, and soul. So the need of self-control or self-management. The need for self-control for self-management. So if you want to have self-management, then you also should have self-control. The practical example of self-control from everyday life. How do you behave when you want a second serving of a gulab jamun when only one is allowed? Available.
Yes.
Only one gulab jamun is required. Will be served. But so many gulab jamuns are there, and you want to have one more gulab. So how do you want? How when you want a second serving of gulab jamun when only one is allowed, but you want it. Okay, when you meet an old friend in your library where silence board is put up. When your mother, क्या हो? Huh? When your mother gets a terrible sickness just before your planned European tour. Okay. To learn restraint in all the situation is called self-control. That means there is a strong desire to do something. Some certain wants are there. But you know that this is not the ideal thing. It's not to be done. So it's called self-control, right? So when you have some sense of understanding, yes, it is not right, it's wrong. But I know, right, wrong, you have some understanding. But to be able to restrain yourself, that is self-control. Singers avoid ice cream, cold drinks, and hot chilies items to have high pitch. They do that, right? A man with typhoid avoids puris and oily foodstuffs to get well. A pilot avoids drinking alcohol in order to have the passenger safe from plane crash. Without self-restraint, none of these can attain peace and happiness. But that means even in material situations also, if you want to get something higher, something tangible, then also some self-restraint is required. Correct? Even for that also. So self-control is like is the need. Even if you have a somewhat average good material life also. The self-control, it will be completely topsy-turvy. Self-control boosts willpower, concentration, and memory. So the mind starts screaming when there is a need of self-control. So that time, if you hear the mind and don't have self-control, then you lose the opportunity to develop your willpower. You see, the willpower goes further down. If you indulge in certain things which are not right, and you don't do self-control, then what happens? Your willpower further goes down. The next time, the influence of that particular temptation will be much more on us. You agree what I'm saying? Much more influence will be there of that particular sense of it on us. And you again indulge much more. So it will the grip will continue increasing. But if you restrain yourself, have some self-control, and so have some positive Krishna conscious engagement, then what happens? Your willpower increases. If you can say no once, your strength to say no tomorrow will be much greater. You getting now? So, so the intelligent devotee, what he will do, he will not hear the screaming of the mind. Mind will scream. But we had to know with our wisdom, by reading Gita and Bhagavatam by association, we have to remind ourselves to say no. Because by saying no, your willpower will increase. And you will not just say no, you have to say yes to Krishna also, right? So you will indulge in something positive. So this is a very, very important thing to handle in this world. So many kinds of temptation and distractions. Yeah, so this courage to say no, that is something very uh, valuable thing. If you can just take a courage to say no. Like some boys were kind of taunting one of the devotee boy. Hey, you have no. If you have any courage, just go and give the proposal to that like that. And this fellow said, no. If you have courage, you show that how you are not getting into all the that is to be done. So he was very clear. He said, I'm not interested. So that is real courage. Courage to say no. Correct. No? That is real courage. Not that the courage to go and propose. That is not courage. That animals also doing. Think about it. This animals also doing. It's not having any courage. So, but that is posed as a courage. Even movies and everywhere. This fellow is very courageous event, and this fellow is proposing or something. That is not courage. That is actually surrendering to senses. Power by virtue of which you can make your mind do what you wish to do can be termed willpower. It seems easy to develop willpower, but it is not as easy as it is often spoken in seminars. Sharu Ramnekar, a famous management consultant officer, has a simple suggestion for reducing weight. He says anyone who can shake his head from left to right can reduce weight. If you can shake your head from left to right, you can reduce.
Wait.
How?
Say no.
Ram Prabhu Gulab Jamun. Ram Prabhu pastry. Ram Prabhu pizza. See, now weight will be reduced. Like that is said. Seems so easy, isn't it? But we have to remember that the shaking of head from left to right has to be done even when you see ice cream, chocolates, fried stuff, and sweets. They're offered to you. Say that. Prasadam also we have to. For us, only prasad is there. We have to decide what we want to take. One may argue what is wrong in enjoying ice cream, sweets, movies, drinks, etc. It is of course natural for water to flow from higher to lower level. But only when the water is stored at a higher level by pumping it up and storing it in a water tank against the natural law. That is develops the power to rush through the pipes and reach when you want to have a shower bath. The same way, great achievements are possible only when lower habits and tendencies that are harmful to the individual's progress are restrained by the willpower. So sometimes this kind of conceptions are there. Hey, don't restrain it, Baba. It's all will honestly, it's not good. Just have freedom of expression. Just get into things. Just do what you feel like. But that is not the right philosophy. But then, as I said, that what happens? The willpower goes reduce. Then simply one becomes completely surrendered himself to mindless senses. That's what happens. But when somebody actually restrains, like mobile is there. If it goes above the gravity, its potential energy is increasing it. You getting now? So then it can be utilized. That's what it's saying. So water is stored in the tank. Then it can be used for constructive purpose. So when you use your energy, the energy which gets wasted just indulging into some gratification, so that energy can be used in constructive. You can use that. So your willpower can that way when the willpower increases this way by saying no, and then you can say yes to Krishna more easily, and then you can make more proper advancement. So sometimes when my mind becomes very crazy now, just not hold. Sometimes you see, sometimes mind just gets stick to something. It just doesn't want. You are walking some kind of some dirty stool, something gets stuck. You watch, it still doesn't go. You have experience of that? I was in a railway station in Mumbai, I think. I was carrying this bag. Suddenly, I found my bag was tubed in some kind of stool. So, and then, and my, yeah, so then I remember 1 hour I cleaned it. Not touching, I had to clean it. No, not, because I have to do Gayatri and all that thing. I think I cannot take bath also. So I had to clean, taking the water, and there was the power water. I had to fill water and pour like that. It was very cold also, cold season. And then some stool will get over. Then again pour. Some more will go over. How to clean? Then I asked one person, somebody like वो होता है ना रेलवे पे क्लीन करने वाला उसको क्लीन करने के लिए हेल्प कर दो ना आप तो कर ही रहे हो क्लीन कर दो मेरा ऐसे ऐसे करना होता है मेरे को मैं टच नहीं कर सकता so then this fellow he agreed some and then he okay then he did with broom then he not do further पूरा नहीं फिर कोई और बंदा था मैंने कहा I will give you some money can you help me cleaning he was again like that kind of boy this in the station something like that then he said no money not required then he agreed to help then he started cleaning with his shoes like they started cleaning and I was pouring water. And after that, he also gave it up. So, anyway, it's not going out of it. That's so difficult. What I'm saying is that it's like that sometimes mind gets stuck to something not, it doesn't get out so fast. Correct? We just carry on sometimes. So, what is required that instead of focusing on that thing, immediately shift to Krishna consciousness. Get into something positive. So, dwelling time should not, there should not be any dwelling. So immediately get into something positive Krishna consciousness, then it will go because that is thorough cleansing. It will immediately, then it will come out. If you just only deal with that, it will not come. Very difficult because you are sticking with that. You more and more get, it's like cat. Cat is trying to that bull and ball. You get more and more and more entangled. So it is that way only. So the way to clean, the way to come out of it is actually to focus on Krishna consciousness. Because on Krishna consciousness, that is actually cleansing. Then you can come out of that. Otherwise, mind sometimes goes low. You see, when you're reading, hearing is not proper. That's why we should have good sadhana. So the mind is always brisk. Consciousness is always elevated. Then to say no to temptation is easy. But problem is when we are low, we are not doing power reading, hearing, chanting, not so even going good. Then the lower thoughts and lower things, the temptation, distractions, they influence us very bad. So that should be like an alarm clock. We shall know that okay, my reading, hearing is going very bad. So I have to first get into reading. Hearing. But if you try to there, just spend time, which is very dangerous because it can go into so many wrong things. So that kind of bad phase sometimes when we face. So I should immediately remind himself of getting into some solid association. Run to association. Do some reading, do some hearing, loudly chanting. One should get into that. That is the way it can come out. But if you don't do that, and we get into all the varieties of, those thoughts, and you are just trying to fight against it without having any kind of, Krishna conscious shelter, then it's very difficult. You cannot come. So that's what it's saying. So it's telling, but only when the water is stored, okay, against the same way great achievements are possible only when lower habits and tendencies that are harmful to the individual's progress are restrained by the willpower. When you restrain, then it is power. The self-restraint develops willpower. When there is a flood, it has no restraints. It inundates houses, uproots trees, carries away cattle, drowns human beings, and causes havoc. When the same mass of water takes upon itself to restrain called banks. Okay, I'm sorry. When the same mass of water takes upon itself to restrain called banks, it gets momentum and moves ahead. You're getting me? You give a proper channel, then it will go in a constructive manner. When that river faces one more restraint in front of it, called a dam, it becomes a source of great power for the welfare of society. So one is restraint bank that gives some kind of momentum to water. The further restraint dam gives further kind of power to water. Can be used for welfare society. Then the water can be productively used for hydroelectric power stations purposes or for irrigation in a regulated way. The human mind also, like an uncontrolled wind or a flood, flows in all directions uncontrollably. See, our mind is going so many things. It's like that. For instance, when you are reading a book, your mind may desire to close it and see a TV program. While watching TV, you might want to meet someone. So much of mind is projecting so many things. Sometimes so much varieties of pictures, varieties of form, varieties of paper, varieties of sound. Mind is projecting. So we have to develop sufficient kind of detachment from all that. Now, understanding all material thing has nothing to do with it. It's all is simply, just distractive elements. Let me not get carried away. Let me not get cheated. Let me focus my attention on positive Krishna conscious activities I'm going to do. This kind of strength will come when you have this positive shelter and you spend time with them. Like sometimes you take out time and read Bhagavatam for 3 hours, read Gita for 2 hours. You do that. Sometimes you should just be mad like just like you do college studies, you do that and your strength will increase. Sometimes like Ekadashi and all, just chant for more hours. Like the shampoo sits continuously for 16 hours. How do you feel then? When you sit continuously, it gives a lot of energy. No? But if you chant here, there, walking, talking, it doesn't have much. No? So anything you do in a focused way, any Krishna activity, it gives you a lot of Shakti. You can just lots of energy you can immediately you can access that. But if suppose we have to also remember to take out our mind from all those things. It gets plugged into so many directions. Correct. So what happens in daytime? We are not careful, or even if you are not careful, still sometimes things may be there, like walking sometimes here and there, something may be exposed to. But we should be sufficiently detached, immediately trying to take the mind away from that and get to some Krishna concept. But for that, you should have something. You cannot just intellectually do that. No, it's not possible. It's difficult enough. Intellectually, how much you can get rid of all those things. You have to have some positive shelter, like you have some schedules where you have Bhagavad Gita reading, you have some Bhagavatam reading, you have some chanting, you have some morning program. So then you can unplug all those things and just focus there. And then you start getting taste. Then other things when we come, you know that it has no value. It has only cheated. Previously, when I gave to all that, I got only cheated, I only drained out. I only was frustrated. I had no higher, sense of happiness. Nothing. I only was frustrated. That's all. So this kind of fair understanding itself is good. Oh, what has happened? Anyways, let us go ahead. So the point is you understood now. So, so that's why Prabhu, this kind of regular spiritual schedules are very important for us. Because even if suppose while going out and all, when we have got some things, like certain kind of forms, some kind of sense objects, distractive things, distractive sounds, whichever we have got exposed to, it's like, we've got different types of varieties of dirt got to stick to us. So coming and getting the schedule is like taking baths. So that's why you get cleansed and your consciousness is again reinstated. Just imagine if you don't do that, what will happen? Let's say person doesn't take bath only. He's roaming around everywhere and getting touching the stool and sometimes gutter and sometimes mud and so many things, right? Smoke and he doesn't come and take bath also. What will happen? He will be stinking. Correct? So same way a devotee will be stinking. Mentally. Consciousness is stinking, mentally is stinking. Thoughts are stinking thoughts. Because he's not taking this schedules very properly. His spiritual schedule is not even proper. He's really stinking one. and you will feel more and more low, and you'll feel more and more, like hopeless. And you can see, like, so a devotee, but who is very much prioritizing his schedules nicely, having his reading schedules, having his chanting schedule, and his focus time is giving. You can see that devotee becomes very blissful. He is growing, he is blossoming. You can see that because the dirt will be thrown on you. Even if you don't notice, you don't know, it will be thrown on. So many varieties of dirt will come anyway. Cannot avoid, correct? The way the modern world is. You can try to avoid as much as possible. But I'm saying that inevitably so much of dirt is there. And we are not purified of our vrittis and vasanas. Right? So there's always this kind of dirt comes in. So first is try to be careful not to allow those dirt to come in. And even if it so happens or sometimes may come in, you should know that we have our schedules. Should get into that. First try to avoid, not to get into first. And also have the schedule. And when you do that schedule, then you'll be very careful not to even allow those dirt. You become so brisk in the consciousness, just reflect. Just reflect like that. जैसे कि डोसा होता है ना, जब एकदम तावा एकदम गर्म है, तो डोसा तो immediately comes out, पूरा पूरा निकल जाता है. लेकिन अगर तवा गर्म नहीं रहता तो क्या होता है, डालो तो चप 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 चप, आप भी कुछ नहीं कर सकते. आप तो डोसा का वो पोहा बन जाता. पोहा भी नहीं, क्या कहेंगे उसको, पूरा वो उसका एकदम चपाती हो, नॉट चपाती हो, it just completely become upma kind of thing, like that. So this is what happens. So when you are high in your Krishna consciousness, when you have given to your schedules well, then what happens? Then even if something comes up, you can just remove. निकल सकता है. कि गर्म है ना, जैसे we should be also गर्मा गर्म in Krishna. लेकिन उसके लिए थोड़ा टाइम चाहिए. तावे को रखा ही नहीं कभी आपने फायर में, और वो गर्म नहीं हो रहा है. अरे बाबू, आप स्टैंडिंग करते हो क्या सॉरी बैठ कर? आप रीडिंग करते हो क्या डेली 2 घंटा? हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू रीड एवरी डे 2 hours ऑफ प्रॉपर? फिर कैसे होगा तावा? तो तावा गर्म ही नहीं हो रहा, तो गर्म करने का मौका ही नहीं देते हैं. तो हम जंप करते रहते हैं इधर उधर. कृष्णा कॉन्शियस नहीं हो रहा है, कृष्णा कॉन्शियस नहीं हो रहा है. बहुत जंप मत करो, बैठो एक जगह. No, you just sit and hear, read, chant, mode of goodness. When you do that, then you strengthen this. will happen. So otherwise वो तावा गर्म ही नहीं होता, और उसमें हम सब 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 उपमा बन रहा है हमारा. Our life is cluttered completely. So all dirt comes and stick to us. It will stick. It's like dosa gets stick. Same way, all dirt will also get stick. So anyway, अगर stick भी हो रहा है तो भी उसको गर्म करके तावा को निकाल सकते हैं आप, करके निकालो उसको. ठीक है, और फिर बाद में बर्ड भी इतना अच्छे से स्टिक नहीं होगा. So you will develop some sort of detachment also. Yeah, and how many of you agree that when you have actually read and heard properly, then to deflect the dirt coming in you was easier. Yeah, you could deflect it, right? But when you, and how many of you have experienced when that Krishna consciousness is not so good, then even simple things also you get stick, and you are unnecessary time is wasted, unnecessary. Then you see the down phase of your mind. What kind of mind can give you dirtiest of the thoughts? It can give you highest of the thoughts. It's the nature of mind. You need not be surprised. Mind can give you highest of the thought. I think I'm a pure devotee. I think now I'm going to meet Krishna today only. I think so. Mind can say like this also, because you got some very divine thoughts. And sometimes mind can give you dirtiest of thoughts. What am I? What? Who am I? At least I should not be my mind. I'm not my mind. It's so bad. So mind can give you high of thought, can give you dirtiest of the thought. How many of you experience that? And you were also surprised for both the things. For the highest of the thoughts, you were surprised. Yeah, I'm a pure devotee. And the dirtiest of the thought also, you were so much surprised. How many of you have experienced? Yeah, if you're honest, you can see that. So this is how our mind is. So that's why Krishna conscious schedule should be very intact. It's a need for us. As I said, we don't take bath only. Don't take shower only, then what will happen? All dirt is coming, and our dirty body पे और जल्दी से stick भी होता है. तो उस पे और भी खट खट चिपकता रहेगा. Because it is very conducive, all dirt. So that's why we should have our good schedules where we can keep our tawa hot all the time. Good. So pure devotee are like that. Shila Prabhupada हमेशा tawa hot. कुछ नहीं चिपकेगा नहीं, आएगा फट फट. No. And he will make other people also hot. So we'll keep in touch with it. They will also become hot. Then they'll also become purified. You got it? That. So we should have that kind of way of living our life. So then he says, yeah, the human mind also, like uncontrollably wind or flood, flows in all directions uncontrollably. For instance, when you are reading a book, your mind may desire to close it and see a TV program. While watching TV, you might want to meet someone. Only by willpower one can give undivided attention to only one thing at a time. That's required. Undivided attention, only one thing at a time. Yeah. Thus, you must control your mind that you make it to do what you want to do. Sometimes, one becomes so much enamored. Oh, suppose some boy is distracted by some thoughts of a girl, let's say. It will be very like, relevant to the current youths many times. So then, now this fellow becomes too much into, just rolls into that unnecessarily. The thoughts keeps rolling, and then it gets further so many more concoctions and so many more things. And this fellow gets so entangled in those kind of things sometimes. But the point is that instead of getting into all that, if one can shift his attention to Krishna consciousness, he can come up and he can see and he can feel, what foolishness I was getting. Immediately he can see things in the right perspective. You know what I'm saying? No? You can see that because you're up, you're little up level. Like when you go in the flight, you go up, then you can see, oh, all these things are this, huh? And we were inside that was looking very number, but when you go up, these are like very insignificant like math boxes. You clearly see that. The same way when you are in that, so the devotee at least should have this understanding. Ki, Arey Baba, this is the red zone now. Red have come into the dangerous zone now. So now I have to immediately plug in to Krishna consciousness and raise my consciousness. And then you can actually say, Arey, what? Thanks God, thanks to Krishna consciousness, what I was getting into. It can come out then. So provider, he has to take that shelter of Krishna consciousness. Then only it is possible. Some shelter devotee, then only name and Krishna. So anytime when phases kind of downfall in his consciousness or mind, immediately he has to come to taking shelter of Krishna. Remember Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, holy name. Yes.
So, Prabhuji, what do you suggest, like the practical way if we are not in temple, if we are outside, what are the practical ways to shift our mindset immediately?
You should have Prabhupada books
So,
and close the doors and windows of your house and mind also. And just be like a mad, like a zombie mad. I'll not even look at something. I'll just be with my Bhagavatam, I'll just be with Gita, and nobody can say, let the whole world go to hell. Because I don't want to my hellish life, living with this hellish mind. I don't want to. I want to be with Prabhupada. I want to be with Krishna. I want to be with, I want to be in the spiritual realm. I don't want to be, in this stool like, gutter like situations which my mind will get into. So I should just like when you get so much, like I was so focused in cleaning that by bad. Why? Because I don't want. If I say okay, it's fine, my stool is okay only, then I will not do anything. Then what will happen? It will stink and everybody will be frustrated, It's all dirty, hellish kind of travel is there. It has to be cleansed, correct? The same way, we know that I have to get cleansing. Otherwise, I'll be living in hellish state. You have something?
do you think like listening to lecture or kirtan do the same thing?
Yeah, it does, Prabhu. But again, we need some kind of thorough, charging. So sometimes you may just do in a very superficial way. Oh, I like some kirtan, I'll just hear kirtan. There is no proper Krishna conscious channelization. It is okay, it's good. But we need certain kind of very, thorough dose. You're getting that's like ICU kind of thing, intense. That gives powerful. It's like you see, Prabhu, you read Bhagavad Gita thoroughly, read properly, line by line, and be very focused and read. After 2 hours, you see and feel you see how you feel. All of you do that sometimes. Take a determination of 3 hours. 3 घंटा कुछ नहीं करने का. I will simply sit. No matter what thoughts come, no matter what calls come, no matter what the switch off कर रहेगा. No matter nothing. I am not going to do anything. I'm just going to read. And you yourself experience. After 3 hours, what is your mental state? What is your consciousness? You see. You have to experience that. You understand? Na? See, we only see our low level of consciousness because we don't have much of Krishna consciousness. We just go on with that, become habituated. But when you actually take this kind of determination and you do that, then you see you'll be surprised at how I'm having such clarity. How I have some perspective that this is not then go to you, can go to Bhagavatam. That means on my own, I am on a very hellish level. But by the strength of Gita and Bhagavatam, by devotee's mercy, I can actually be very pure in my existence, in my thoughts, and have clarity in everything. Because of this, because then we are cleansed. No? So this is very important. So that's why those are sincere devotees, no, they will never compromise their sadhana. So if you try to every day read some good amount of Prabhupada books, say 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever is possible. We do so much of college studies. Why can't we schedule some Prabhupada book? And we see how much time we waste. Like sometimes I ask a devotee, Prabhu, can we read Prabhupada? No, Prabhu, the time is not there, I have to go and all. And we talk. And we talked for 15 minutes over. Then I said, Prabhu, what do you feel? Can we read for 5 minutes? I think I have to go. Then again some talk happened, again 15 minutes. Then I was thinking, see, this is how our mind tricks. If you wanted, we could have read half an hour. All those talks combined together and reading half an hour combined. See the input, see the output. All that our talk which we did, okay, some kind of socialization we did. But if you would have read half an hour Prabhupada book together, even though you did not have time, I did not have, we would have been much better situated. I mean, you also don't have time, I also don't have time, still we did chatting. Some kind of socialization we did. Okay, some kind of social connection. But that is not much fruitful. You getting what I'm saying? So we sometimes foolishly waste so much of our time thinking I don't have. But I'm telling you, Prabhu, if you make a schedule, Prabhu, I want to read, then other things will follow. You'll get time. Then, in fact, many things will reduce. Honestly, chatting and wasting our time will reduce. So these things cannot be compromised. We have to do it. And we see when we keep compromising, keep seeing our downfall in our consciousness. We see that. Then we are so vulnerable. So especially in a country like America, we have to have very, very strong kind of tawa should always be hot. जैसे भी आप जब बाहर आते कोल्ड रहता है ना तो your body should always be warm, correct? पहले से ही वार्म करके रखेंगे तो लेयर बाय लेयर वार्म कर बाहर जाकर वार्म ही रहेंगे. Yes or no? We are careful or not because it's too cold outside. But here in India in the summer, April and all, they don't have no problem. It's okay. It's maybe fine, right? But when you are in such a place, then you have to be more hot. The same way, no? So because when you see that here you have to have more cleansing. जब गर्मी में जब पसीना को ज्यादा आता है तो 2-3 बार नहाना पड़ता है बदबू ज्यादा आ रहा है तो that's why we have to be more fixing sadhana. So Krishna consciousness is not automatically developed. उसके लिए effort डालना automatically not develop. We have to put effort. We have to cleanse ourselves. We have to elevate our consciousness. Conscious effort is required. So all of us have to worry about our mind. Any one molecule you miss, na Prabhu, there is a big hole there. There's a big hole there. Just like any diet you don't eat, you may say, Prabhu, एक दिन नहीं खाया चलता है ना नहीं लेकिन वो तो नहीं खाते हैं ना तो उसका वो एक बॉडी को जो नरिशमेंट नहीं मिला ना उसका वो रिप्लेसमेंट नहीं होता है समझ आ रही बात ना उसका वो इफेक्ट आता है लेकिन कोई जो रेगुलरली वन इज टेकिंग द नरिशमेंट देन इट विल शो अप इन द बॉडी तो एक दिन का गैप से बहुत फर्क पड़ता है सो वन डे यू मिस मॉर्निंग प्रोग्राम देयर इज अ गैप देयर इज अ बिग होल देयर एंड माया कैन फील इट इमीडिएटली माया कैन फील हमारे कितने सारे होल्स हमको पता है कितना दिन प्रभाव नहीं पड़ते हैं कितना दिन हम जप अटेंटिवली नहीं करते हैं कितना दिन मॉर्निंग प्रोग्राम नहीं करते हैं how many times we are not having good hearing of lecture and all. So all these things are like holes and we are filling in maya so much. You getting? So this is the problem. She's selling in a tug of okay. For instance, when you are reading a book, all this while watching TV, you might want to meet someone. Only by willpower, one can give undivided attention to only one thing at a time. Thus, you must control your mind you can make it to do what you want to do. In a tug of war, almost all the energy spent by the men playing the game is wasted. In a tug of war, almost all the energy spent by the men playing the game is wasted. Tug of war, you understand? So much of tug of war keeps happening. With the sense object, the senses, the mind, with so much of tug of war happens. तो उसमें बस एनर्जी चला जाता है. We have something. Here? What is the real world? For? Oh,
Services.
which service is that? Okay. So you'll do? Suddenly you're putting bomb on him. ऐसे कैसे? अरे यार देख, you should before only tell, no?
We just got the message, so I had to. Or else I usually say it.
You might have planned something. 9 to 12, might be planning to read Gita today after hearing the class. Currently, you're thinking something like that. No? I think you're not thinking sufficiently. That's why this came now, 9 to 12. Of course, that is also good. Seva. Seva is also nice. But we need that kind of engagement also. What do you say, Arvind?
Huh?
What do you say?
What do I say? You're right.
In a tug of war, almost all the energy spent by the men playing the game is wasted. You can do this is because of the opposing forces. So our time goes in just battling against the temptations, distractions and temptations and all. That only takes our all time. The better strategy is to have good Krishna consciousness and have nice smooth sailing. That is more good, better. Hey, bro. Something similar happens to the human mind all the time. Human mind has a tendency to think of literally hundreds of things. On the average, we have 10,000 random thoughts per day. That is about 7 per minute. It is like 7 vectors pulling your mind in 7 different directions. A person who has trained the mind, if a person who has trained the mind that he can think of only one thing for a period of an hour will have a force at his command. If you learn to put restraints on your mind and learn to prevent it from wandering and give your entire attention to whatever you are doing, you're able to achieve what seems to be superhuman to an average person. It says to put restraints on your mind, learn to prevent it from wandering, and give your entire attention to whatever you are doing. So we had to be convinced of, okay, this is the right thing I should do. Before we think, make kind of schedules like that, should fix there. Learn to prevent from wandering and give your entire attention to what we are doing. One thing a strong willpower can relax is one with a strong willpower can relax easily. He can also concentrate on anything easily. Thus, though concentration and relaxation seems to be two opposite states of mind, both can be easily attained by a person who has the willpower. If you learn to relax at will, you can develop willpower. If you learn to concentrate, you can develop your willpower also. Then you will be able to make your mind do what you want. Getting this point, no? So we will continue in the next class. Any questions till now? Was that good discussion? Any questions till now? Anybody has? Any question? Any reflection? Any reflection also? No reflection, no questions.
Reflection takes some time to think, process it.
Like that.
I honestly feel like, and that's why I asked you a question of what are the practical ways to implement them, because I personally think when I'm following my sadhana very nicely, when I attend Mangal Aarti, my productivity goes very up, my focus goes up. So yeah, it is relatable. That's why I want to.
Yeah. When you're not regulated, and when your sadhana is weak, you're very vulnerable. And then you can expect horrible, situation of your life. It's better to always remain, proactively engaged in a regulated manner and good sadhana. It's very important. We should not, let us not take chance. जैसे कि कुछ कपड़ा वपड़ा पहने ही बाहर चले गए कोल्ड में, क्या होगा? ठंड खा के मर जाओ। ऐसा मत करो. Equip yourself. Be regulated and have good sadhana. तवा हॉट ही नहीं किया, उसमें डोसा डालेगा, क्या होगा? उपमा बनता जाएगा, सब वेस्ट. Your stick cannot make any dosa because it is tawa is cold. Dirt can just Any reflection? अरे speak by something. What is reflection? ऐसे कैसे? Reflection ही नहीं है आपका. See, Westerners. One good thing about Westerners is now they have a lot of reflections. They will discuss and ask questions and have reflections. Yes. No, some reflection. What was good? Whatever you spoke was good.
Maybe Western.
What I spoke, just know what you did.
So maybe Westerners like have a lot of affection because like for them all this is like a good path and all is like kind of first and hearing about it.
Many
They've all been already conditioned to that because of families, dialogues, everything.
Many Westerners, what you said to me?
Many Westerners, for them, this Krishna consciousness is a new thing, right?
Correct.
They are not. So for us, because we are from India and we are from good family background, we have already been trained by our parents to all this. So we've already been following this path. So there's most of the things are like already like, some of the things, I mean, like some of the things are already like ingrained in our day-to-day life practices.
So we should be proud of that. No, we should not be proud of it.
No, proud of it in the sense that we should be that God guides.
No. Actually, I will tell another way. I will tell we can be grateful for whatever we have got and let us not take risk and chances. And if we are sufficiently fearful of Maya, then we will have our strict one. That is much. See, who was better situated, tortoise or rabbit? Tortoise was better situated.
Because he was consistent.
Because rabbit was very ahead. Rabbit was very ahead, but he was sleeping. He was sleeping. Many Indians are sleeping. Many Indians are sleeping because they are thinking we are ahead.
Yeah.
We are ahead of Westerners. But I'll tell you, many Westerners will go back to God and these Indians will keep taking birth many times. Irrespective of Indian or American, anybody takes to Krishna consciousness seriously will go back. But the point is, the pious Indian, no sense of urgency in Krishna consciousness, will remain stuck in this. A Westerner who may be in too much of sinful background, but he's feeling sense of emergency in Krishna consciousness. He's feeling my life is waste if I don't take Krishna consciousness. He's feeling a sense of emergency. He'll go back to God. So that is the problem of the Indians, many of us, many of Indians, that they feel themselves very pious, very rooted, very grounded, and they don't feel so much need of Krishna consciousness to take him back to God. They think, we are going back to God. So they're not so much feeling sense of emergency, sense of urgency in Krishna consciousness. So their practices are not so intense many times. You getting? I mean, there is a point. So we can feel grateful.
Grateful to our parents for
Grateful to everything that we have got certain good samskaras, certain training and all. We can be grateful, but not complacent. Why? Because the kind of dreadful attack of Maya which is going on, it is not something easy to face. Very good family background people have come and they have got into dangerous situations. Yeah, it will just go. Like suppose you are very clean and everything, it taught. You have never got any stool stuck on you till now. But if outside you go, stools are being thrown on. You go and it will cut. So if you just think from last 20 years, never any stool stick to my leg. But you go and cut immediately. So we have to know that we are vulnerable situation in material. So devotee who has this understanding, he will never compromise with his heart. He will not compromise with his reading, hearing, chanting, and morning and everything. No compromise. Because this thing can just evaporate. We have to constantly keep filling our fuel. Very, very important for us. And if he has a sense of, because healthy fear of Maya is important. So Maya can immediately take care from influence, very dangerous. The healthy fear of Maya is required. Do you understand this point? Yeah. So all this what we are describing, Westerners have been getting into all these things. And that should make us understand that, oh my Lord, Maya is so powerful. That people can get into so many wrong tracks. And if I don't take Krishna consciousness seriously, if I'm not intense, I'm also vulnerable. We should have that kind of thing. We should have that kind of healthy fear of God. So we don't have to become proud that these are all poor Westerners. They have to get into that. We don't have to feel like that. We have to feel that, oh, I'm saved. I'm grateful to Krishna and parents and everyone. Parents means what? Krishna. Parents are independent of Krishna. Krishna has put me in certain situations. So because of that, I have got certain training, certain this thing. So that is good. So now you should feel more sense of responsibility. Now I have more. So let me take more seriously Krishna consciousness, by which I can help many more people. That should be our feeling. So we don't have to look down towards us. That's not it. We can know that how Maya is very powerful. That we can think. And we can help them come out of all this. And if they take up Krishna consciousness sense of urgency, they'll go back to Bhagavan. That's what Prabhupada did. So many Westerners have gone back to Bhagavan, and they're going back to Bhagavan because they took their shelter very seriously. And many Indians, Prabhupada was requesting, nobody came. Prabhupada के ज़्यादा Western disciples थे. But Indian disciples were very hardy. Why? Because they were very complacent. हमको ऑलरेडी पता है गीता जी, स्वामी जी, रामायण गीता सब पता है हमको ऑलरेडी. वी आर ऑलरेडी गेटिंग अबाउट 4. हम 4 नियम तो 55 से करते हैं. कोई अंडरस्टैंड नो? So they are stuck in their piety. So this is a very dangerous plight. This is one of the great hurdle in Krishna consciousness. Piety. You may think piety is good, piety is bad. If it becomes hurdle in Krishna consciousness. If you are stuck in piety, you will not be able to go back to it. Sorry, sir. Cannot. So piety is another big hurdle. If you think that I'm very pious, I'm very good background, I'm having very good samskaras, and we are not having sense of emergency in Krishna, we are not healthy, having healthy fear of Maya, we are not intense in Krishna consciousness, we are not feeling sense of emergency. I remain stuck in this world. We are not feeling like that. Then we are actually losing that sense. Like Rajasham, he's also coming from very past background. See, but you see what kind of health, sense of emergency. What kind of healthy fear of Maya? He was sending Sri Gopal Prantu. So some college program he gave. Some 1 or 2 girls and boys are there. Suddenly some boys slipped away, and gone up. And 1 or 2 girls were remaining. And then Sri Gopal Prabhu also has gone somewhere. And then Rajasham came out and he chastised him. So, you why didn't you go away? There are only some Mataji was saying, if I fall down, you will be responsible. Can you imagine? This Radhasham was saying like that. Radhasham. Sri Gopal. You will be responsible. And then I asked Sri Gopal, what exactly happened? He said, Prabhu, it was glass doors. It was visible also. It was not like that. But Prabhuji still he was. So he's keeping the standards, you see. That showed healthy fear of. Another name, I have a past background, I have so many things and all that. I can just not go for one. I'm always senior devotee, 20 years I'm doing. But do you find Radhesham missing one? No. If Ekadashi rounds he misses sometimes, the 64 round, then he will go find another day, we'll chant. Because sense of emergency, healthy fear of Maya. We cannot take chance. Piety will not help me. Only, Krishna consciousness shelter. And Maya is always attacked. Maya can just flip us. Who कर देगी Maya चले जाएंगे हम. Piety का नाम निशान नहीं है. सब सारा training, सारा संस्कार सब. See, Ajamila was there from very pious Brahmin family. But it could not help him much. But when he took shelter of the holy name very deeply, he went back to God. You getting this point? So I have to blow this. I'm not talking about you or something. I'm talking into the principle that how the piety is the greatest, hurdle sometimes for many Indians. So be very careful. Once one Brahmana, he was very proud of his Gayatri. So what happened? Once he forgot his Gayatri. He slept, and he was like, the Gayatri time came. He slept and Gayatri time came. Then what happened, Maya Devi herself came and woke the Vaka. Hey, Brahmana, your Gayatri. And then he started doing Gayatri. Now, what is the purport? What is the purport of this whole incident? Abhidharma. Why Maya Devi is helping him to not forget his Gayatri?
This is serious.
Huh?
This is serious.
No.
Maybe he's proud of that. That proud.
Yeah, Maya wants to discourage you, Baba. Maya is not going to help you. So she wants to help, she wants to keep this Brahmana in this material world by continuing his pride. So you get up, do your Gayatri. See, do. And he's doing, I never miss my Gayatri. Sense of piety, sense of piety, I never miss my Gayatri. So Krishna conscious devotee doesn't have I confidence. Pride is not the point. It's not about I, it's about Krishna. Krishna. I am fortunate that Krishna is helping me. You understand? This is the thing. I am nothing of mine. It's not the feeling of a devotee. So we should not never derive strength out of piety. No. If we are fortunate, okay, we can be grateful. Okay, I have been saved. So many things. Saved means what? Then you further develop Krishna consciousness and save the world. Not like you sleep now. I'm saved. That do not save us. You're getting this point of view. So all of us have to see. All of us have this power. To some degree or the other, we have sometimes. We tend to feel sometimes better than others. I'm very good back. I'm very that kind of pride may sometimes help us not that may become obstacle for us to make progress. Does it make sense, no? Yeah. So to be cut off this kind of pride. And you see, those who are devotees, many of them they may have very good background, they're very serious. Some of them not having good background, they're also very serious. Same, it doesn't matter. What matters is not this piety or sin. Pious and sin. That's coin, same coin के other side. तो उस पर स्टक नहीं होना ना तो piety में ना तो sinful life. So my Guru Maharaj says that sometimes Westerners are here, but they are looking towards Krishna. Say this Krishna. And Indians are sometimes here and they're convinced. They're not looking for Krishna because they're stuck in their piety. So they are more fortunate because they are looking towards Krishna, they will come to Krishna in this life. And they are here, one lifetime is not moving ahead. They will remain here. And sometimes that piety is not so powerful also. Maya can immediately topple them and go anywhere. They have no stand. Maya is very powerful. You see, Damila was pious, but what happened? Because Maya is very powerful. So that's why we have to always take deep shelter of Krishna consciousness. Chanting, reading, hearing, and should be very serious, not feeling any sense of complacency with Krishna consciousness. We have to be intent, there is no option. ऑप्शन नहीं है अभी बॉस्टन है इतना कोल्ड है ऑप्शन है क्या कपड़े लेके आने पड़ेंगे नहीं आना पड़ेगा कर ही नहीं सकता मर जाओगे you have no option Maya Devi is bombarding himself with so much of stuff. You have no option but take shelter of Krishna take shelter of Krishna have intense Krishna consciousness ठीक है श्रील प्रभुपाद की और प्रेमानंद जी हरे कृष्णा श्रेयस प्रभु श्रेयस प्रभु is also
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. You're there, Shreyas Prabhu?
Yeah, yes, Prabhu.